Well, good evening, everyone. And I want to start with this reading from, of course, the essence of the Bhagavad Gita by Swamiji. This is 265. Oops, I just lost 265. And I'll heavily rely on this book today. But I feel there is a lot of good things. Maybe the good things are only for me, but we will see. So he writes, with the attainment of soul bliss, every vestige of sorrow disappears. Bliss gives perfect discrimination and soon establishes one's consciousness firmly in the self. This is 266. Those with unsettled consciousness. Do you feel sometimes our consciousness is a little unsettled? Yes. So those with unsettled consciousness have no discrimination. Those who are unmeditative cannot know peace. And for those who lack peace, how is happiness possible? As a boat moving on water may be swept off its course by a gale, so discrimination may be swept from its path by the vagaries of self-sensory influence. And this is where he again starts with this chant that we just sang. The words of the favorite chant, I have made the pole star of my life. I want to start with that unsettled consciousness and the effect it has on the discrimination. And Swamiji talks here discrimination like when we say I am discriminatory. He talks about true discrimination. Many a times, this is a funny way of looking at it, but we have generally lunch at our center here. So we come, what is there, 1 o'clock, Kishan, our cook, brings lunch. We look at it, and then I think everybody makes, when Jayaji was here, he would act surprised every single day. What is there for lunch? And he would open, dal, then there's roti, and then there is sabzi and rice. And while those 4 things are the same things every time, but if he truly actually is so enthusiastic or actually expecting something else, something for us to learn for all of us. But what happens to us sometimes is like the lunch comes and we open and we are not as enthusiastic or as impressed by that menu as Jayaji. Then I propose maybe we should have some modak. And at times there is a unanimous response to that, yes. And recently I went there, and then Divine Mother actually helped, because the place generally where we get the modaks from, which is Joshi's, because they have a little healthier version of it, good ka modak. It was not there. They said we are sold out. Generally it's very popular, so by 1 o'clock, 1:30 it is not there. But see, by this time, the desire is concretely settled in the heart. So the discriminative faculty is functioning, but in a completely different way. All my forces are supporting, but to whom? To the one who is sort of ruling the heart, which is the desire. So I go to the neighbor, Chitale, and these people, they always have modak no matter what time you go. But now here is how the Maya comes. Now they don't have the healthier version that we are trying to satisfy. They say we have it, but they will come with sugar. But doesn't matter, whatever it is, pack the 8. We come back, we eat all of them. Then, now that the desire is satisfied, meaning what? My throne is again created empty. I was like, why did I do that? When I'm trying to work and there is sleep in the eyes and there is no focus or whatsoever, we are not going to do this again. Unsettled consciousness. And Swamiji talks about that a little bit more. So I'll continue reading this portion. He says the spiritual seeker may on occasion find himself swept off his upward course by outward temptation. I just gave you an example. Not only the sensory pleasure though, but a desire for less tangible temptation. And this is what I would like you to reflect. Offered by the individual, to the individual by Maya to feed his ego consciousness. Name, fame, power, self-importance. And as I read this, see if you find yourself being tempted by anything. When I was reading as like a name or power, nothing, something I immediately resonate, and I'm not boasting myself, but other parts, fame and the self-importance. I'll tell you another funny thing. Before I came to Ananda as a full-time, I used to work. It was a small startup, so small group. A lot of work we did. We all were good at it, and everybody was putting their heart. But because it's a startup, we want everybody to be encouraged. So they had 2 awards. One was the butt kicker award, a full horse, like in full gallop way. So if you do something good, you get a butt kicker, and you get to keep it for like a few days till someone else does something, and then it sort of keeps repeating. I was surrounded by very, very brilliant people, so I was just happy for everybody to get that turn by turn. And of course, there was only a butt, which is like if you mess something, you only get the butt part of it. So one day, I remember some portion was there, and I was involved in that portion, and it broke. So only I knew how can it be fixed quickly. And I fixed it. Now, the moment I fixed it, I realized now it is my turn. It is going to come my way. Now, I was already going to Ananda, so I've heard online, read a lot about like even-minded, and you cannot get too happy about something, too upset about something. No, but I could feel myself getting very happy. I said, like, I can't do that. But I knew that the butt kicker is coming my way. So I was like, that's as the thing is approaching, there's too much joy, too much joy. And at the end of it, they called me and then, okay, this is for you. So the end of it, I felt like I failed. Well, I was happy, but I failed spiritually. So I said, like, that fame and power could become ego-boasting delusion. But I will continue reading and we'll come back to that story. So he says, instead of agitating yourself with guilt feeling and self-accusation, which can only increase your susceptibility to delusion, one should return calmly to his pre-established course. I don't know. At that moment, I actually felt I miserably failed. But I think there was some kind of a weightage or some success I'll grant to myself, because though I was feeling tremendously happy and like self-important at that moment, I never acted like that there. I only knew that there's something going on inside, but at least I didn't let that take the throne of my kingdom as I did it just in the case of the modak. So it is okay. He continues reading. This is a very important part. He says, mistakes on the path are always possible. And I feel Swamiji is trying to be very humble here. We can reread this sentence, an important part. Mistakes on the path are probably inevitable. The devotee should acknowledge them, at least to himself, sincerely and openly, and then simply forsake them without making the further mistake of becoming upset with himself. He should keep his mind focused steadfastly on the pole star of his true goal, union with God. Since the ego is a delusion, any distress one may feel with oneself for having succumbed to that delusion is also a delusion. This is very important and beautiful. I will tell you another personal thing, why this is relevant. Again, a test came. Did you ever have any tests? Did you ever fail? Yes? No? Pradnya is too young to fail. So that is a yes. But then did you feel upset about that failure? Yes. This was also like I felt that I have figured it all out. The first few years of spiritual path, those of you who have been on this path for some time, you resonate with it. It comes like, this is easy. Master gives you a little grace, you don't understand, you say like, I can do it. I was in that phase, but inevitably Master, once he sort of pushes you in the door and closes the door, he said, now you figure itself out. Now I can laugh about that, but after around 5 years on the path, a big test came. And I was not able to handle it properly. And I became so upset about why. It was sort of like some rug was pulled under my feet. And I tried to figure it out. Okay, I have a mind, I read, what is it? Got to figure this out. This cannot happen. Yes. So I read it, a lot of things, I figured it out. No. But what happened after some time, few weeks passed, 1 month passed, same test came, and I was knocked down full flat on one more time. And I said, what is happening? By second time, by third time, I realized this is a pattern. So far, the test was coming, I was getting knocked down of it, I was getting upset about it. Now that I realize it is a pattern, I started fearing it. So it's like, my goodness, it's been 2 weeks now, so it can come at any moment. Right? So fear. And that fear, did it help? No. It eventually came. Again, I could not rise up to that occasion. I failed that test. Now I became angry at myself for not doing anything. So one situation was there where there was some kind of a test, I was making mistakes, but that brought what? I got upset, I got angry, and I started fearing. And this continued for some time. And then at some point, I think again, I didn't come to this reading then, but some kind of a thought like that did come to me. You see, this is happening. I cannot just wish away, it will put it under the rug. It is not going just because I want it to go. So on that day, what I thought dropped, as Swamiji invites here, is it is not for you to, this is a karma coming your way, you figure it out. So on that day, what I dropped the feeling of getting upset. I said, it is coming to me, let it come. I'll figure it out, I'll fail it. But I'm not going to do the other things. So stop becoming upset. As a result, stop becoming fearful. Stop becoming angry at myself. Now, did it fix anything? It didn't fix the original situation, but this indeed fixed the unnecessary thing which was happening to me. See, and then that's what Swamiji talks in the third para. What is the importance of this part? And after that, I will ask you contemplate why would he say that. One should make it a practice indeed to separate himself in his mind from identification with anything, even an identity of thought, and return to the affirmation God alone is the doer. By thus disassociating oneself from an error the ego commits, the tendency to err will gradually subside. This is a gold mine, he just said. I'll tell you another funny story. When I was young, I had a little wound, but we were away from my home. My dad is a doctor, but he was not around. So it was just me, my mother, and my mother's parents. So my grandfather was there. And it was paining. So I didn't pay much attention. I let it heal, but unfortunately, it didn't heal. My blood is a little impure, so whenever I have a wound, unless I sort of take care of it right away, it sort of just, it sort of spoils. So then you have to sort of do a lot of work. And that caused more pain. So I didn't do anything. I just let it go. But of course, it was paining, and then I was walking strangely. So one day my mother asked, what is wrong? I said, that is what is wrong. So she said, you know what you need to do. You need to sort of open the wound and clean it. I said, we'll see. Few days passed, she said, see, either you do it, or I'll tell your grandfather. Now, that threat was very dangerous because I knew he would actually do it. And he would not necessarily do it in a very polite way. So I spent 2 days in extreme distress, but finally I somehow find the courage and then poked it and then it opened. Thank God. I still remember that moment, you see. Now, why I gave that example? See, the same thing happens here when we talk about any karma or any mistakes, meaning what a situation is coming our way, not able to handle it. I don't know, I haven't figured that mystery out myself. By being upset, angry, or any of those other things around it, we're just trying to say, I don't want to look at it. Somehow it will just go on its own. But it doesn't. It doesn't go on its own. And in the worst case scenario, if you just keep doing that, the grandfather comes. And grandfather is it's life. Life is not going to just please just let's let this part go away. And that's why I think the yogi's choice here is like, I don't mind. And it is not going to make it easier, you see. That's why Master said, easy life is not a victorious life. We voluntarily choose, because the moment it comes out, no, it actually pains for a moment. But there is a freedom, there is a release after that. And inevitably, every one of us will feel that, provided we choose to look at it. The first thing is accept with calm impartiality whatever comes my way, and not fight that. So then, just this last thought I'll get before I pause is like, see, we all make a mistake and we get sad. Why on earth do we get sad about anything? And if you find yourself in that space, ask yourself, why? Because we have some version of ourselves, okay, this is how. And that version doesn't match with what my reality is, my experience is. So we try to fix ourselves so that the version gets matched. But we never question the version that we have created for ourselves. The type of perfection we are talking about. He talks many good metaphors here. He talks about if you put a stone in a river, it will create ripples, but it will eventually stop. Whenever we are talking about just focusing on what is the ripples, we forget the possibility that beneath the ripples, there is a still ocean, isn't it? So, what is it that is making us upset? It's just basically our own ideas about ourselves, about what it should look like. One story I'll tell you from the life of Milarepa. He was a great Tibetan yogi, but he did a lot of terrible things. Like he was very advanced, but just because he wanted to take revenge, he did sort of a black magic and whatnot. He succeeded, but at some point he realized this is a terrible idea. So then he went and found a true guru. This true guru was Marpa. So Marpa says, okay, fine, but I want you to do something for me. So like, what? So build me a hermitage here. So this is a long time ago. So Milarepa started building, just using he was a big guy. So using all his strength, he's starting building the hermitage here. And after a few months, it's almost sort of getting shape and whatnot. Marpa comes and is like, hey, how is it going? Says, sir, look at this. I said, like, why are you building it here? I told you to build it there. Milarepa tears it down and starts building it in the next place where the guru told. No? Another few months passes, Marpa comes and like, how is it going? He said, see, it's almost there for you to open it. He said, like, why are you doing it here? Do it there. Now by this time, Milarepa is questioning, so, but Guruji, you told me. He says, no, I changed my mind. Do it here. Again and again, many times he had to sort of tear the same thing down and bring it to a new place and build the same hermitage. Finally, after some time, he stops it. It's like you needed purification and something like that. But put ourselves into his shoes. The same task. You see, like make up your mind. We are wasting such a precious time, isn't it? What our rational mind will say. Swamiji had asked, when he was with Yogananda ji, Yogananda said, like, build a swimming pool. And there were people. Swamiji started. He said, Guru told, I'm going to build a swimming pool. Swamiji also writes probably in New Path, he said, like, probably Yogananda has never used it. So you make up your mind, are you going to use it? No, that's a rational question. Many people actually sat on the side also saying, I do not want. I didn't come here for this kind of a work. Let's talk spirituality. Those guys didn't last too long. Guru, when we say, I accept with calm and partiality, see, we have to make choices in our life. That is inevitable. But when a choice is made, when a life situation comes, it is a Guru Kripa. That's the highest way of looking at, or a command from the Guru. If we can look at as Guru Kripa, no matter whether it's convenient or not, that is the highest way of devotee. That's how Milarepa survived that test. He says, it doesn't matter. There could be resistance inside. Guru told me, I am going to do it. Swamiji did the same thing. We have to do it. They were doing this same business with some cement concrete. Master calls, like, come. The immediate thought inside is, like, concrete is going to dry. If the concrete dries, it takes forever to break it. It was there in mind, but Guru called, they left. And we know the miracle. Well, they came back and the concrete was still soft, still moist. It doesn't matter even if the concrete gets stronger. You see, if life has asked us of something, we could be present with all our heart. Don't need to rationalize it. If it has come, it is ours to own it. It's ours to participate. And in that, as Krishna also says, even if you fail miserably, it doesn't count. He said, bring your intentions to me. And that's enough. I have accepted, and Guruji, this is the best I have to offer you today. But I am going to offer it nonetheless. Okay, with that I'll take a pause. Om Guru.